What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to be breaking down what on earth my price prediction is for tomorrow based off what the charts are showing for NIO and based off what the data is suggesting. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market, what NIO put on their Twitter page, and how all these things can affect the market going forward based off what the Fed has done and based off what the outlook is showing. Now, before I break anything down, before I talk about what's going on with NIO stock, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, you could always sell these 12 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some NIO shares for free. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 2 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So NIO did make a big move to the upside, breaking past $21.20 a share. It actually pushed to the upside, but then we got this big rug pull from the whole market that did cause NIO to actually come down with it, and overall NIO was red about 0.8%. Now, I mentioned in my previous video the market was essentially pretty neutral, and then we ended up transitioning into a more fearful state after the things that Jerome Powell said. So I do see a continuation of the downside from here as the market is changing its sentiment, and Jerome Powell actually did this intentionally, in my opinion. He wants the market to come down going into the FOMC meeting so that after it, I think we are going to get a big bounce and a big recovery like I talked about yesterday. Now, when it comes to the bottom for the market, this is something else I want to talk about. For SPY, I could see the SPY coming all the way down to like the 380, 370 range, but I do think it's very likely we get a nice bounce as we approach the FOMC meeting right after it. But is it possible for us to go to new lows? It is also possible. It's just a little bit less likely, but I want to just let you guys know that you should be prepared for anything, and also know that I personally think we could get a nice bounce after FOMC. Until then, we have a lot more room to come down, in my honest opinion. I want to be as honest with everyone as possible when making these videos. So because SPY is looking pretty bearish, if you look at what the data is showing for NIO, if we look at big changes right here, we see this big comparison between the charts, very similar. And right here, you could see NIO is actually moving. Its beta, I guess, kind of slowed down a bit, but not necessarily too bad. And overall, we are seeing, more potential for downside clearly in the charts, and I do think NIO is going to track the overall market. Now, there is another factor that could affect NIO in the future, and I actually want to just highlight this real quick, and that's the crisis that's going on in China. Basically, a lot of people in China were buying houses like crazy. The demand was crazy. There were even these lottery systems for people to be able to like afford properties or buy properties, and what happened was, it's very similar to what happened in 2008 to the US. People thought that housing would just explode in China. It was working temporarily, but what happened was real estate developers were not able to actually keep up with the demand. So they reached a point where they kind of created this pyramid scheme where they would take the money that people are essentially investing in for new properties, and they would use it for the old property developments. They ended up defaulting on really building up all these bigger properties. They lost tons of money for people. People started to withdraw their money from banks, and the banks actually did not have enough money to really, really help their own people. So we're seeing a big crisis in the real estate market. Real estate is crashing in China. And on top of that, we're seeing their economy taking a big hit because real estate makes up a big sector in their economy, like 30% or something like that. So with that said, this did not necessarily cause NIO to like crash, because this was actually going on for a while, and NIO did get these nice pushes up to like the 24 range. But what I'm trying to say is, if the market does end up seeing a shift, or if something happens, this could be something that's interpreted as a catalyst to hurt the markets in the USA. Because what could happen is big businesses in China could default on their debt. Big businesses lost a ton of money that they invested in these Chinese developers, and especially like Evergrande, for instance. So American companies are going to be affected, and the U.S. economy will be affected if China enters like extremely bad situation from here. It already is pretty bad, so to speak. So it is something I want to just put out there as another catalyst that could actually cause the market to hit lower numbers in the future. It's not necessarily the main focal point like right now, but maybe later months it is possible, right? As we approach the end of the year, Just wanted to put that out there. But if this does have a negative effect on the economy, this could affect a lot of EV companies. They are being hit by these, I'm sorry, China is being hit by these massive heat waves. So the heat waves are essentially causing more lockdowns here and there. They're actually slowing down some factories here and there. It hasn't necessarily affected NIO or Tesla that much as of right now. But if the situation gets worse, like I mentioned, you never know what could happen. This is something to be prepared for. But if we're just not going to account China into this and what's happening to the overall markets, right now there's a shift in sentiment. So the whole market is turning a lot more bearish. And I really think that NIO is going to come down because of that. It's not NIO's fault. NIO did not do anything wrong to cause this. It's the overall market that's affecting it. So let me pull up the chart and I'll give you guys my price prediction. All right. So what I'm essentially seeing from NIO is this. I love NIO, guys. I want to make that clear. I know a lot of people don't like it when I talk about NIO coming to the downside, but it's the truth. What has NIO been doing for the last couple of weeks? If you guys look at the charts, let me show you this first before I give you guys my prediction. Look at NIO. All right, we've been stair stepping our way down. There's a downtrend that's being respected right here. This thing went from the 24s down to the 21s, down to the 20s. It pushed up to the 21 again. It's coming down. It's a downtrend. So with that said, I'm still more bearish than bullish for the upcoming week. And I think that the market is really going to take a hit very soon after what Jerome Powell said. So for tomorrow, because we dropped so hard, it is possible for us to kind of push up just a little bit into open, maybe the low 20s. But then after that, I see a big rejection and I see NIO coming down and testing 19.5. After we test 19.5, no guarantee it even holds. We could even come as low as 19, get a bounce off that, kind of close around that low $19 range, in my honest opinion. It could even go lower than that. So remember, if 19 doesn't hold us, 18.75, 18.5, then 17.8 are going to be key zones. Now, if we push up, if the market just somehow out of nowhere does push up, which is very unlikely in my opinion, NIO has resistance at 20.2, 20.8, and 21.5. So look out for those ranges. Once again, I think it's very unlikely we actually push up that hard. We're more likely to see a slight push up into open, followed by a big drop after that, in my opinion, because in the markets, we've seen this weird correlation between Fridays and Mondays. That's one thing that happens, not to mention the fact that the overall sentiment in the market is just not good. And even if we hypothetically, all right, hypothetically do have a somewhat green day tomorrow, I don't think the green is going to last, guys. The market's just not looking good. That's as blunt as I could be. Look at SPY. Look at the daily candle on SPY. It is just bloody. I mean, look at that. Does not look good, guys. Maybe SPY pushes up a little bit tomorrow, but then I see a lot more downside to come. I see the low 400s coming very soon. I see this thing testing 400 very, very soon too. It's going to drag NIO down with it, in my honest opinion, over the next couple of weeks. Nasdaq, same thing, nasty, nasty candle. I see more downside to come. Be prepared for that, everyone, and do what you have to do. I'm not giving financial advice, by the way, but you just got to be prepared. From a technical standpoint, let me just do one last thing before I actually talk about what NIO put on their Twitter page and why it's not the end for them whatsoever. So if we look right here, we can notice something very interesting coming out from NIO. On the daily time frame, we're seeing this downtrend in the RSI. We're seeing the MACD, it got bigger, kind of closed out a bit as NIO was kind of pushing up a bit, trading sideways. And look at this, it is starting to push to the downside. We got some very, very bearish price action here. It tried to push up, but we haven't gotten that crossover yet. So it looks like it could continue to come down. On the 5-minute chart, check this out right here. On the 5-minute chart, okay, we're seeing lots of bearish momentum here. A nice push to the upside temporarily, but more bearish momentum after that. Somewhat of a push up and just more and more of this bearish momentum. So the bears have the edge right now. NIO on the 5-minute is kind of oversold, which is why I did mention a little bit upside is possible. Just slight upside followed by more downside after that. It's just not looking the best. That's my honest opinion of it. Now, as far as EMAs go, I like to use the 1348 and the 200 EMA. If we look at the daily, you're noticing that is we're trending below the 200 EMA. And we've been doing that for quite a bit of time on the daily charts. We're still on this downtrend. It does look like this is going to act as resistance if we try to break past it. As far as EMAs go, guys, I'm noticing this. So right here, 1348 cross up, then down. We almost got the cross up. I don't see it actually crossing up again. I see it just coming down because we already got the crossover to the downside. There was a temporary bounce or push to the upside because of the news that came out involving the auditors coming to Hong Kong, being willing to audit more Chinese companies from the USA. So that was good news that pushed us up temporarily, but it's not enough to get us another 1348 EMA crossover. Still looks bearish in my honest opinion. I see NIO coming down very, very soon. With that said, thank you all for listening. And remember something else that's very important. Although the market's looking bearish, although NIO is taking some hits, it is not the end of the world whatsoever. NIO is still an absolutely incredible company. They're setting their feet into Europe and they're expanding all over the world. They have AI technology coming out. They have NAMI. They have new models. They're an absolutely incredible company, in my opinion, especially after the big news that came out with auditors from the US being willing to go to Hong Kong to actually audit companies like NIO. It's a great piece of news. It's a great piece of news that's improving the situation as there's been lots of tensions. And I do believe for the long term, NIO's future is very bright. I think they're going to do whatever they can to really stay intact. And I'm very, very bullish based off their developments, based off the technology that they're investing in, and the team that they have developed to really improve on a daily basis. So with that said, I see them expanding. I see the technology is doing better. The battery swapping technology is brilliant. And I'm very bullish for the long-term future of NIO. I see this thing going to hundreds of dollars a share, in my honest opinion. Not financial advice, by the way. For the short term, I am still more bearish. All right, it happens. Be okay. This is what the chart is showing. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And like I said before, do what you have to do. Thank you all for listening. Remember to not chase. You have to hunt. And I will see you guys in the next video. NIO to the moon because the long-term future is bright. And peace out.